What's up, homies? As promised, here is your completely unedited, because I don't know how to do that shit, video. I'm sorry it's a day late, but better late than never, right? Love you. Anyways, today we are going to talk about this bitch, DeeDee Blanchard. I know at the very minimum you've heard the name, so we're going to go into a little bit of the backstory, what made DeeDee the way she is, and honestly, why I think that Gypsy Rose was the true victim in this story. Anyway, DeeDee was born in May of, sorry, I gotta grab my notes. In May of 1967. She was into misdeeds since she was a child. This chick was born with the ability to swindle and manipulate. Petty theft seems to be her jam, as several of her relatives claim that she allegedly wrote bad checks, committed credit card fraud, and shoplifted. Her daddy, Claude, even said it always seemed like we were in and out of court. By age 24, however, DeeDee met a 17-year-old Rod Blanchard at a bowling alley. Side motherfucking note. Can we talk about how it's already gross? Like, here she is, a grown-ass woman, and I'm sorry, he's 17, he's still a boy. Anyway, I digress. In 1990, they meet. A couple weeks later, they meet again, and soon enough, they found themselves pregnant with a baby girl they would name Gypsy Rose. Rod believed, as a good Southern boy, it was now his duty to go ahead and marry DeeDee. What utter bullshit, but their jam, not mine. So he did. However, he knew he had done so for all the wrong reasons. He knew he didn't love her. He states he woke up on his 18th birthday thinking, what have I done? Dude, I agree. What did you do? So before Gypsy was even born, this marriage was already done. He got the hell out of Dodge. He knew chick was not all there, whatever you want to say. Side note, I don't mean to misspeak on the dead, but I'm probably going to call her a bitch about 50-11 more times, so oops. When they divorced, when DeeDee and Rod divorced, DeeDee moved in with her dad, Claude, and her stepmother, Laura. During this time, Laura got incredibly sick. She was on bed rest for about 9 months, a bed rest that Claude didn't think she was going to make it out of. The family is pretty insistent that DeeDee poisoned Laura. She poisoned her with Roundup, the garden fertilizer. They believe that it eventually led to her death in 2018. Bobby Petrie, who was DeeDee's nephew, was quoted as saying, "She was old and sick, but I bet it was also DeeDee's poisoning." So we already have this one kind of eerie circumstances, and granted, by 1991, when Gypsy was born, again, Laura was still around. It wasn't until 2018 that she actually passed away. However, we jump to 1997, and DeeDee's own mom, Emma, has passed away. This bitch is thrown in the conversation again. Why? Because her family continuously insists she intentionally starved her own fucking mother. Can you imagine that slow, horrible death? To know you're dying, but you're relying on somebody else to help you, feed you, give you your medication, and they're not doing that simplest act? it it's devastating. I agree with Bobby when he says that DeeDee was an evil person. I completely agree with that. I will, however, say this: DeeDee was never charged with a crime in relation to either of those visits. As far as her own mother's death, really the only thing we know is Emma's death is, I apologize, about Emma's death, is that it occurred at exactly 11:47 a.m. Don't ask me how they got that exact time. They did. June 9th, 1997, at age 59. Her obituary doesn't mention a cause of death. No article I found could give me an actual cause of death. But again, if you ask the Petrie family, DeeDee did it. She starved her mother to death. Lest you think that was the end of it, we've barely begun the story of DeeDee Blanchard. She was also, as most people know, a horrific child abuser. And I would just love to tell you about it. Gypsy was born the 27th of July, 1991. Fellow Leo! Within 3 months. 3 months. Baby didn't have a tooth. Baby wasn't crawling. Probably learning how to roll over. But, according to DeeDee, Gypsy had sleep apnea. By age 5, she had cancer. Gypsy was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Recently, it's been renamed factitious disorder imposed on another, or FDIA. This was the beginning of a long, hard road for Gypsy Rose. A road that she felt led to only one way out. My husband asked me as I was kind of going over the material, I'm looking for the why. I don't understand. I'm looking for the why. And that's the hard thing about DeeDee, because there is no why. DeeDee did what DeeDee wanted. DeeDee couldn't get her way, so she poisoned her stepmother. DeeDee felt Emma was in her way and was being overbearing, so she starved her to death. She saw the attention, the money, the fame that having a quote-unquote sick child brings. This fame she got from being a wonderful mother. She could do no wrong. People praised her. How can you do this day in and day out? You're such an amazing mother. Even her own ex-husband, Rod, mirrored those words, even telling her I couldn't do it. The list of Gypsy's supposed illnesses reads like the medical DSM. Leukemia, muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, respiratory issues, including the sleep apnea and asthma, vision and hearing impairments. DeeDee constantly referred to Gypsy as slow, saying she had the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. Yo, I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Let's give a little clap and shout out to DJ Short Blueberry Strain, which has given us our initial high. And of course, my Granddaddy Perk by Sesh, which is going to keep us going. Sorry, I'm really loud. I don't know why you don't want to hear that. Anyway, there was basically nothing wrong with Gypsy. She could hear her mother saying she had the mental capacity of a 7-year-old, saying she had cancer, saying she had sleep apnea. She could hear her. But she believed her. She believed when her mother said, I'm going to shave your head because it's going to fall out anyway. This will keep it neat. She believed her when she told her she had to take these medications. A whole closet full of medications with meticulous notes of days and times and when it was due. The medications that fucking caused the symptoms of these other illnesses that DeeDee stated that Gypsy had. She was physically causing her daughter to be sick. One of the medications was an anti-seizure medication. That medication caused Gypsy's teeth to rot out. Completely rot out of her fucking mouth. This is hard to think about. To know that a mother is supposed to go to the ends of the earth to protect her children, and this bitch caused her daughter to have multiple unnecessary surgeries, sat her in a wheelchair, told her legs didn't work, forced her to get a feeding tube, and on and on. This psycho was crazy. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it. She made sure that whenever they went to a doctor's appointment, that Gypsy had a Barbie, a stuffed animal. She told her, focus on this, hold on to this. Insinuating, oh, if you're scared, I'm a good mom, I'm giving you something to hold on to. When in reality, it was a method to keep her distracted so that DeeDee could speak to the doctors and DeeDee could translate the medical information. Sorry. Her hand was always on Gypsy's shoulder or holding her hand. It seemed so reassuring to the doctors. Again, look at this great mother, just taking care of her baby girl. When in reality, it was manipulation. If Gypsy went out of line, if she even hinted that there was nothing wrong with her, DeeDee squeezed, and DeeDee squeezed hard. She gave 0 fucks. She knew the doctors were buying into her. She had no worries. She ran the show, and she knew it. She adapted, she readapted, she moved. She did what she had to do to keep the con going. This bitch, told you 11 times. This bitch even knew to alter her family history to match the specialist she was at. For example, if she was at the cardiologist, all of a sudden her entire family died of heart attacks. It's crazy the depths this woman went to. She's leading the witness. She's telling them what to do. And they did, again and again. Dr. Mark Feldman, a Munchausen expert, believes Gypsy was, and I want to quote this, consistently and viciously subjected to Munchausen by proxy. Fucking consistently and fucking viciously. Viciously. If that doesn't hurt your fucking heart, then you suck. I don't know how else to put it. Sorry for you. In September of 2005, Gypsy and DeeDee moved from Louisiana to Missouri. DeeDee said it was because of Hurricane Katrina. Her family says it's because they called her out on her treatment of Gypsy. Gypsy falls through so many cracks. If they felt comfortable calling her out at a family barbecue, why could no one make the call to one of her doctors, to Rod, to somebody? Hindsight is 20/20. That's really all I can say. I'm looking at everything from start to finish, and I can say, you should have done this, you should have done that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Nobody did. DeeDee goes on to further state that Gypsy's father was nowhere around, an abusive drug addict, when in reality, he was sending his monthly $1,200 child support payments, talking to Gypsy on the phone, and consistently planning visits, which DeeDee always seemed to have to move and cancel. Though Rod did enjoy sporadic visitations with his daughter, he says DeeDee never left them alone. All the visits, DeeDee had to be there the whole time, Rod said during a 2020 interview. Something never felt right about it. DeeDee was so controlling. You hear that word or variations of that word so often in this story because that's what DeeDee was. She was controlling. She was manipulative. Side note, I don't know how to say that word. Should probably choose a different word next time. Back to the story. She manipulated everybody in her path. Neighbors, doctors, shelter workers. She knew what to say to get her way. When they moved in September of 2005, I really think this is what opened DeeDee's eyes to all the riches she could get by being this mother of a sick child. This was her first airplane ride that was covered. And then they were building her a house. She just probably felt giddy. She knew what she had to do. To further her control of Gypsy, DeeDee pulled Gypsy out of school by second fucking grade. What is that, 7 to 8 years old? I have a 7-year-old. She has just started school. Just as she started. Just as she probably had friends. People she could talk to, maybe even teachers she felt comfortable with. Gypsy's mother, pulled her out of school. DeeDee claimed she homeschooled Gypsy because she just wouldn't keep up with her peers. Nah, homie. Isolation is just is just one of many tools abusers like to use. Children's Mercy Hospital, Habitat for Humanity, Ronald McDonald House, and Make-A-Wish are just some of the charities who fell victim to DeeDee's ways. She charmed these charities out of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, considering Medicaid paid for every medical procedure that that Gypsy went through. They paid for the medical equipment, and what they didn't, these charities did. They paid for multiple Disneyland trips. They paid for her to meet Miranda Lambert backstage at one of her concerts. They paid for everything. In 2008, Gypsy and DeeDee move into the house that Habitat and Humanity. I am really great at this talking thing, am I not? I love it. Let me get a drink of my water. JK, it's Red Bull. Anyway, in 2008, Gypsy and DeeDee moved into the home Habitat for Humanity had built for them. It was bright pink, as this was Gypsy's favorite color. I knew I liked that girl. It had a wheelchair ramp as well as a hot tub for Gypsy's muscles. During summers, DeeDee would put up a projector and play movies on the side of the bright pink house. DeeDee, of course, had to make her coin though, so she charged them for snacks. This was an area that couldn't necessarily afford to go to the movie theater a lot, so watching the movie was absolutely a treat. They loved it. She, however, did not need the probably $20 she made off of these kids, literal children, wanting a snack to watch a movie. She did not need that. This bitch was how else can I say, rolling in the dough. She had her husband still sending her $1,200 child support payments. She wasn't reporting that income though, so so she was also getting, again, the Medicaid, food stamps. She was getting these extravagant things paid for, again, a fucking house, Disneyland trips, multiple wheelchairs. It's nuts. Anyways, let's get back to it after a brief intermission. There we go. Let's get back to it. At 14 years old, Gypsy was seen by pediatric neurologists. I had to say that fucking slow as shit to make sure I didn't fuck it up, and I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments that I still did. But I really do appreciate feedback. She was seen by pediatric neurologist Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein. And let me tell you, Mr. Flasterstein is not here to handle DeeDee's shit. In his notes, bold and motherfucking underlined, he writes, "This mother is not a good historian." It's the equivalent of "per my last email." I love it. He noted things didn't quite add up like DeeDee was saying. For someone who supposedly hadn't walked in, I believe at this point it was 9-10 years, Gypsy's lower extremity muscles were normal. He further records that he was able to get in contact with Gypsy's previous neurologist, who had spoken to the previous neurologist, and clearly remembered them stating that Gypsy did not have muscular dystrophy, the illness that she was in to see Dr. B for. Stupid ass DeeDee said all her previous medical records were destroyed in Hurricane Katrina. And Dr. B said, "Hold my fucking beer," and figured shit out. I wish that was it. I wish that if this was a happy ending and this is where it ended. Unfortunately, it's not. Even though he thought Munchausen by proxy was a strong possibility, he felt he couldn't report it because she wasn't neglected. As he says, she was just over cared for. Holy fuck. Please, no one ever over care for me. Ever. Ever, ever. Love you. Mean it. Honestly, though, I feel for him. I don't think it's a secret that the DHS CPS system is seriously fucked, and you don't want to put someone in that system if it's not warranted. It's almost like it's such a gamble that you have to make sure without a doubt that this is what's happening, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Hindsight is 20/20 again. I'm looking at this from start to finish. I can say, hey, Dr. B, something is wrong. Call it in. But he didn't have that 100% verifiable proof. Here's the thing. People did call the police or CPS. They showed up. And DeeDee did what DeeDee did best. She manipulated those son of a bitches just like she did all these doctors. Funny enough, after Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein made his report, neither DeeDee nor Gypsy went back to Mercy Hospital or Dr. B. She just moved on to the next. It's crazy, though, because it's almost like DeeDee wanted to keep Gypsy a little tiny girl. In fact, I think it's kind of clear that that's what she wanted to do. She felt like she got more sympathy if she had a younger child with an illness rather than a teenager or an adult. It didn't give her the pizzazz that she was looking for. She went as far as to alter birth certificates, but as a former teenager, let me tell you, you can alter all the documents you want, lady, and that is not going to stop those crazy teenage hormones. While they shared a Facebook at Blanchard, Gypsy also created, a secret account at Emma Rose. And this is what she used to talk to boys. Ooh la la. One of them she met in person at a science fiction convention. Yeah, I hope I said it right at one of those attempts because I'm not doing it again. That's hard. It's very hard. Vision Con was the name of the science fiction convention? Still doesn't sound right. I don't know. Anyways. Sorry, I lost my place. This man is not named in anything that I could find. In the dramatized version of this story, The Act, he's named as Scott, but we don't actually get a real name. Vanity Fair does state that he is 35 to Gypsy's 19, but that's the only identifying information I could find for him. She confided vaguely, as she puts it, into him. And it really seemed like she had found her fucking knight in shining armor. I'm so sorry. I keep losing my space. It seemed like he wasn't put off by her. In fact, he wanted to rescue her. Gypsy says she caught a ride from a stranger and went to him. It didn't last long, though, because DeeDee's psycho stalker 11 ass found them within 4 fucking hours. Holy fuck. DeeDee is reported to be 19. Or I apologize. DeeDee is actually 19. But DeeDee brings... Shit, did I say DeeDee? I meant Gypsy. Fuck it. Shit. My bad, y'all. Just deal with me. I'm so sorry. Anyways. DeeDee brought falsified documents and told this man that DeeDee was a minor. I believe it was 15 years old. In front of fucking Gypsy. Gypsy was right there. DeeDee didn't care. She knew that she had that control over Gypsy and she wasn't going to rat her out in front of this guy. And she was right. Gypsy went with her. Gypsy tells us that once they returned home, DeeDee smashed her phone with a hammer. DeeDee then took her computer and smashed it with that same hammer. She then looked at Gypsy and told her, "If you ever do that again, I'll smash your fingers with this hammer." Gypsy states she was then restrained to her bed with handcuffs and a dog leash. Handcuffs and a motherfucking dog leash. According to Gypsy, this lasted about 2 weeks, and she kind of says it like, "Oh, it was only 2 weeks." It was bad, though, Gypsy says. She does admit to that. But DeeDee regularly withheld food, subjected Gypsy to physical and emotional abuse, and called her names like bitch and slut. This was nothing new to DeeDee. Shit, why do I keep confusing their names? Probably because I'm high. Anyways. I forgot where I was in. DeeDee called Gypsy names like bitch and slut. This was nothing new to Gypsy. She thought it was normal. She didn't know any better. Again, DeeDee could not stop Gypsy's longing for the outside world and sincere affection. I'm sorry. By 2012, Gypsy was back online and had signed up for ChristianDatingForFree.com. Here is where she meets Nicholas Godejohn. Honestly, there seems to be a lot of coverage on their online sex life and their interest in BDSM, and honestly, I'm not going into it. They were 2 consenting adults, and don't yuck their yum. Anyway, Godejohn and Gypsy communicated for about 2 years before Dipsy. That's it. I molded them into one now. Fuck. They communicated for about 2 years before Gypsy decided it was time to meet, meaning she was going to introduce Godejohn and her mom. She set this up to go down at a movie theater. She purchased Nick's ticket and everything. Sorry. Godejohn flew in from Wisconsin and they arranged to meet at the movie theater. Sorry, this shit is kind of funny to me right here. DeeDee didn't like him because she thought he was weird. They went to see the live action Cinderella and she's basically like, why is a grown-ass man, he's 23, at this kids movie by himself? No date, no kid, just himself. And he keeps looking at my daughter and what's going on? Like, alright, I hate to say this, but I kind of understand DeeDee there. But that's it. Other than that, fuck that bitch. But I digress again. I'm sorry, this dude was a weird motherfucker. In 2013, he was whacking it while watching porn in a McDonald's for 9 fucking hours. What the fuck? How did he, not go raw? I don't know. Shit. Sorry. I'm sorry. Back to the case. After this failed meeting, this is when they decided that DeeDee had to die. Gypsy explains it not because she was hated. She didn't hate her. It's because Gypsy felt it was that only way out, the only way to escape. Listen to that again. She felt like death was the only way to escape. Be it hers or DeeDee's. On the 8th of June 2015, their plan goes into motion. Godejohn flies back to Missouri and waits for the go sign from Gypsy. On the 10th of June, it comes. Gypsy meets him at the door with a knife, and then, per Godejohn's instruction, goes into the bathroom and covers her ears. Nick stabs DeeDee 17 times in the back. Varying reports reflect DeeDee's death as a different date. I found the 14th of June, the 9th of June, and the 10th of June. The 14th of June just doesn't make sense because that's the day her body was found. And per the reports, she was already dead for several days by the time she had been found. The 9th is possible, but the 10th of June is the most consistent that I see across all the documents. And there's a fucking lot linked below. So that's the date I'm sticking with, is the 10th of June. Once everything is done, the two hightail it out of there and stay 2 days in Godejohn's hotel room before... You'll see why I'm laughing in a second. Before arriving at Nick's home in Wisconsin on the 13th of June. So let me tell you about these two fucking idiots. Sorry, not sorry. First off, these fuckheads mail themselves the murder weapon. They mail it to Godejohn's house with Gypsy's address as the return address. They wanted to make double sure they were caught. They also carried their bloody clothing with them again. They crossed state lines. They were in a hotel room. There was so many opportunities to dispose of it. I don't know, maybe that's wrong of me to think of that way, but regardless, there was. They did not have to carry their bloody clothes with them. Holy shit, I'm sick. I'm laughing at that. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. After they are caught, I apologize. So, on the 13th of June, they arrive in Wisconsin. On the 14th of June, Gypsy makes a Facebook post on their shared profile because she states she wanted her mother's body found. She posted, "That bitch is dead." People initially thought, obviously she's hacked. DeeDee didn't write this. Gypsy didn't write this. Not funny. What's going on? But then Gypsy further comments under the @DJipBlanchard account, "I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter. Her scream was so fucking loud, LOL." It was just ripe with spelling mistakes. But seriously, fucking is spelled fucking, Fucken. Just because you're murderers doesn't mean you can disrespect the F-bomb like that. Have some class. In reality, these posts are what led to their downfall. As I said, they were fucking idiots. When the police searched, they found the IP address was registered directly to Godejohn, and on the 15th of June, officers decided to visit his home. There was really no standoff as Godejohn quickly surrendered and Gypsy was, of course, with him. Unhurt and remarkably healthy. With no wheelchair in sight, she was walking around. The two are, real quick, this isn't my notes, but I just have to go here real quick. Can you imagine being Aaliyah, who is Gypsy's best friend? Can you imagine knowing Gypsy for years and years, feeling some of that pain with her, grieving with her when she had to have these appointments, and then finding out she's fine? It's gotta feel almost heartbreaking. Like, what? Why the fuck did I believe you? How the fuck did I believe you? Why didn't I see these red flags? And again, the only thing I can really say is hindsight is fucking 2020. They probably didn't even acknowledge the red flags because it was probably a quirk. Oh, it's just DeeDee. I can literally imagine somebody saying that. Anyways, on the 15th of June, they're arrested, quickly separated, and Detective Hancock takes over interviewing Gypsy. Detective Mahoney is interviewing Nick. At this time, it's still believed that Gypsy is only 19, when in fact she's around 23 years old. Again, the dates are shaky because of these forged documents, but the most widely reported birth date for DeeDee is that one in 1991. It doesn't take long for Nick to crack. These kids weren't made to be criminals. In fact, Dr. Mark, let me find his name right quick. My bad. I'm so unorganized. Anyways, the fucking Munchausen expert, I can't find his name in my notes, stated that he felt, of course he couldn't predict, he didn't know for sure, but he felt if these two had not intertwined, that it wouldn't have happened. Gypsy wasn't going to do it by herself. Nick wasn't going to do it without somebody asking him to, or I hate saying it this way, but pushing him to it. Again, I think that puts the onus on Gypsy and Gypsy alone. And to me, in this case, Gypsy is more of a victim. I truly believe that. Gypsy does, however, try to go the, what? Are you telling me she's dead? I had no idea route, and it doesn't go well for her. Detective Hancock basically tells her, stop the shit. You know, I know you know. Now tell me what happened. Gypsy goes so far as to admit that she knows Nick would, quote, do anything to protect me. Godejean, however, says it was her idea the whole time. Again, waters get a little murky. Things stay mostly quiet until the 29th of June, when Gypsy makes her first court appearance. Godejean makes his the following month. On July 5th of 2016, Gypsy accepts a plea deal and is sentenced to 10 years. Many, including myself, believe this sentence was just too harsh. She was a domestic violence, child abuse survivor. I don't know how people don't seem to see that. It's like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, she was harmed. She was medically cut open, not metaphorically, but literally on an operating table for tubes, vision surgeries, feeding tubes. Goes on and on. Dan Patterson, the the prosecutor offered the plea deal, as he states, due to mitigating and extreme circumstances. You fucking think? Little Mama Gypsy deserved to walk, and I'm sorry, she was the true victim in this case. Godejean, however, was convicted in November 2018, and after and was sentenced to life in February of 2019. Cottonmouth. After exhausting all appeals, on the 29th of December 2020, Godejohn's lawyer filed a post-conviction relief. There's not been a decision made at this time, at least none that I can find. Godejohn is still in prison at Potosi Correctional Center. As of 2019, Gypsy is engaged to a prison pen pal known only by Ken. According to Fancy Mancelli, great name, she is Gypsy's rep. She states Gypsy and Ken are making plans to build a life together once she is released. It was also announced that Gypsy is writing a book, which I will absolutely be purchasing. Cash App if you want to help. The book is anticipated to be released in 2023. Gypsy herself is eligible for parole in 2024. She is currently housed at Chillicothe Correctional Facility. The famous Pink House is now a tourist attraction, and seriously, guys, I have to fucking go, so cash at me so I can. Like yesterday. Love you, mean it. DeeDee's own father and stepmother and most of her family state that, or feel that, she got what she deserved. In the HBO documentary, when they are pointedly asked, did DeeDee get what she deserved, both Claude and Laura stated yes. Nephew Bobby states that his immediate thought wasn't of concern or sympathy. He thought, who the fuck did she piss off now? According to Claude, DeeDee's father, when asked who would claim DeeDee's remains, her sister responded, flush her down the toilet. I apologize. Flush that down the toilet. As far as I can tell, DeeDee had burned so many bridges that nobody ever claimed her remains. I cannot find where they are. Possibly in a pauper's grave, as the most I could find was a grave number, or I apologize, memorial number. That was when I was on findagrave.com. What a crazy case, y'all. This shit went from poisoning to murder to abuse to murder again. And it's so fucking sad to see Gypsy's interviews. She seems so childlike and talks about how much freedom she has. This chick is sitting in a fucking jail cell. And she talks about feeling free. Let that sink in. Her mother kept her in such tight chains. She controlled when she ate, what she ate, how she ate. That the simple act of eating what she wants is a sense of freedom to Gypsy. It's like I said, it's crazy. That is really all I have. Nothing further to update, but if I do get any updates on Godejohn's post-conviction relief, I will absolutely post an update. Thank you so much, all my criminals. I appreciate you going on this wild ride with me. This was just case number 1, numero uno. Cheers, and a toke, of course, to many, many more. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment. I'd love to know who you guys want to see covered in the future. See all you bitches next week.